We're getting a look inside a major tech firm that has just revealed how it's using a custom-built AI to tackle a core function of its data teams. This is an inside look at what they're calling a new AI data analyst, built from the ground up to solve a massive internal challenge. So, the whole story of why this AI even exists, it really starts with this one number, 600 petabytes. That's the absolutely colossal amount of data the company's platform has to manage. I mean, to even try and wrap your head around that, that's hundreds of quadrillions of bytes. It's just an almost incomprehensible scale. And a scale like that creates some very real, very human problems, even for the experts. Here's a quote from one of their own people. "We have a lot of tables that are fairly similar, and I spend tons of time trying to figure out how they're different and which to use." It's that classic problem, right? You're drowning in data, but starving for actual insights. This is what the company started calling the 600 petabyte problem. The challenge was just so huge that it forced them to completely rethink how they do data analysis, which of course led them to a pretty novel solution. And it's not just about the sheer volume of data, right? The complexity is nuts. Those 600 petabytes are spread across 70,000 different datasets. And those datasets are being accessed by over 3,500 internal users. The potential for making a mistake, for choosing the wrong table, or just misinterpreting something, it's massive. So the bottom line here wasn't a lack of data. It was this massive bottleneck in just getting to it. Finding the right piece of information was painfully slow. And then making sure your results were actually correct, that was incredibly difficult, even for the most experienced analysts. Okay, so that brings us to their solution. They're calling it an AI data teammate. And look, this isn't some off-the-shelf product they bought. This is a totally new kind of internal tool, custom built to solve their very specific data headaches. So what is it really? At its core, the AI data agent is a custom tool that can explore, reason about, and analyze the company's data platform. And it does it all using natural language. Just think of it like having a data expert that you can literally just talk to. And the real game changer here? Speed. This thing takes the process of getting answers from something that used to take days down to just minutes. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how fast the business can learn things. So, how does it actually do it? How does it get from a simple question, a simple prompt, to a complex, genuinely useful insight? Let's break it down.
A user can ask a really complex, open-ended question like this one about New York City taxi trips. It's not just asking for a number. It's asking about a nuanced concept like unreliability. I mean, that's something that would normally take a human analyst hours, maybe even days of digging to figure out.
What's incredible is the agent handles the whole thing. It starts by understanding what you're actually asking. Then it explores the data, runs the necessary queries, puts all the findings together, and this is the crucial part. It can self-correct if it messes up or gets a weird result. And that self-correction piece, that's really the superpower here. It's what they call a closed-loop self-learning process. The agent is constantly checking its own work, finding its own mistakes, and trying a new approach, all without a person having to step in. It basically takes all that tedious trial and error work off the user's plate and puts it onto the AI. Right, so you're probably wondering, how on earth is this thing so accurate? Well, the secret lies in what the developers call the 6 layers of context. This is the real key to its performance. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to data analysis, context is absolutely everything. Without it, even the most powerful AI models on the planet will fail. They'll misinterpret terms, they'll miscalculate results. They have to be grounded in the reality of the business. And these are the 6 layers it uses. It looks at historical table usage to see what's popular and trusted. It reads human annotations from experts. It gets context from the source code that created the data. It scans for institutional knowledge in things like documents and even Slack messages. It has a memory of past conversations, and it can even ping the data warehouse directly for runtime context. It's the whole shebang. You see, it's that powerful combination that really grounds the agent in reality. It isn't just looking at a table's column names. It truly understands the company's specific data, the code that generates it, and all the tribal knowledge that surrounds it. And that is what cuts down on errors and just dramatically improves the quality of the answers. Now, as you can imagine, building something like this was not a walk in the park. The team that built it shared 3 key lessons they learned along the way, and they have huge implications for anyone trying to build AI agents. So the first lesson, and this one is a bit counterintuitive, is that less is more. They actually found that when they gave the agent fewer tools to work with, its performance got better. It turns out that having a bunch of different tools that did similar things just confused the AI. So by limiting its options to a really clear, distinct set of tools, it actually became more reliable. Second lesson, guide the goal, don't micromanage the path. They discovered that giving the agent super specific step-by-step instructions actually made it perform worse. It was much, much more effective to just give it a high-level objective and then trust its own powerful reasoning to figure out the best way to get there. And the third lesson, which might just be the most profound one of all, meaning lives in the code. Sure, metadata and query logs are helpful, but the absolute truest understanding of any dataset comes from the actual code that created it in the first place. By analyzing that code, the agent could understand nuances and assumptions that weren't written down anywhere else. So what's next? Well, the ultimate vision here isn't to create yet another app you have to open. The goal is to build an AI that blends seamlessly into the tools people already use every day, whether that's Slack or their coding environment. And that leaves us with a pretty big and maybe even a little unsettling final thought. We've just walked through a detailed blueprint for how AI can take on the really complex human role of a data analyst. So the question isn't really if AI will take on these kinds of jobs anymore, is it? It's simply which job is next.